What's good, Bully World? We out here at the ABKC Nationals 2017. I have my man Bashar, Muscletone Bullies in the house. We're gonna do a quick recap. Last year we did an interview. We got 250,000 views on YouTube. The big talk was the $1 million offer for Mr. Beans. I want to ask today, have you gotten close to that offer?
Actually, I got that offer exactly. Person was supposed to come pick up the dog at my house right after Nationals. It was already kind of talked about before the interview, and a few things came up, a few things happened that didn't permit the transaction to complete. So kind of like more on the personal side, on the finance situation with the gentleman purchasing the dog. But it's still in the process. It's not over yet. But as of right now, it didn't go through.
How did you come up with the name Muscletone Bullies?
Muscletone Bullies. Okay, so when I first started in the dogs, I've always been fascinated with muscle in general. As my personal physique versus, horses, a cow. It doesn't matter what it is. If any animal had muscle, I was fascinated. Any human being with muscle, I was fascinated. Man or woman, I was always interesting to me. I grew up doing martial arts my whole life and looking up to people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just that whole era of when I grew up. Muscle was a very big thing for me. That attracted me to the breed was the muscle. But unfortunately, a lot of the dogs back in the day lacked muscle. So it was like a toss between a muscular pit bull or a more bulky, fat dog that they considered a bully that lacked muscle. I don't think a dog should be fat to have muscle mass, even though I like to put weight on my dogs before I stack off competition because it gives them the appearance to be larger. But as well as I can trim them down if I need to, if I need them for the ring or anything else when I go and tour around to grand champion them or champion them out. So it's easy to put weight on a dog that already has a frame and a muscle mass to be what he is. It's like a bodybuilder. You got your bulk up season and you got your competition season. So put the weight on them, drop the weight off them. So you go from feeding them, 2-3 pounds of chicken a day, every day, to feeding them, a cup and a half of food a day, every day. So there's that. You trim them to get them where you want them, then they move a little bit better, but they may not be able to do the stack offs as well. So then you don't do the stack offs at that point. So the name Muscletone came from that concept. It's from the beginning of time. I wanted muscular dogs. So that was my ideal word, was the word muscle. The word tone came in is when I started searching and finding about dogs. The internet was really new at the time, and the one thing I always searched when I looked for it was muscle tone, and I put pit bulls, or how to put muscle on a pit bull, So I was always looking for that situation because I had a pit, and he was muscular, but didn't seem like the pictures I saw of other dogs, And I learned really quick it was all genetics. That couldn't matter what I fed him, didn't matter how much I ran him, didn't matter how much exercise I did. Their genetic system is very different than ours. Sure, you can put a little more muscle by working out a dog and feeding him properly, but nowhere near like a human being, Their autonomy is completely different than ours. So I learned it was genetics. You look at it, my dogs are born muscular. You can see them as little babies. You can see the ripples in their shoulders and in their necks. You can see it in many animals and in many other breeds as well. So I needed to lock that gene. Muscletone was definitely the word I needed because that was the word that was going to be what I was going to produce, which is dogs with muscle tone on them. And you can see that in all my dogs, Magoo, Kaza, Bean, Claude, Paulo, the list goes on. There's hundreds of them. So that's how the name came to be, and I stick by it. I love that name. I stick by it. And I make sure that every one of my dogs represents that name.
One of the characteristics of Muscletone dogs are the extreme muscle mass.
Correct.
And one of the things that I want you to clear up today for the people,
sure.
You get a lot of people who say that you use steroids
right.
with your dog.
Okay, first of all, to educate morons who say these stupidities, my dogs are bred all the time. I don't think there's a week that goes by that Bean or Kaza doesn't get pulled. If not, both of them 2 or 3 times that week. So my dogs get bred all the time, to my females and to other people's females. People come to me to do breedings, I send semen out. When a vet collects the semen, he sees the sample. He quotes it, he gives it a list, he ships it out, okay? I don't do any of the shipping, so the vet handles everything. These females are getting pregnant, the semen is quality and everything. Anyone knows anything about steroids knows. You go sterile. While you're on steroids, you go sterile. While you're off steroids, you go sterile for a very fucking long time. And it takes a lot of ways for you to get your semen back, if you can even get it back. Some people go sterile for life off steroids. So that's a stupid thing to say when the proof is there.
Okay, we're back.
So I even took a video of him walking outside taking a piss, and you could also see his balls in the back of that video. It was just luckily that I had that video, so I posted it up to show the retarded things that they say. They accuse me of all kinds of things. They call him ice pack Bean. There was an ice pack put on Bean. There was nothing wrong with Bean. You could see his mouth was closed. He wasn't panting or anything. I'm not going into details why that even happened. I'm not even sure why my worker put an ice pack on his butt. And even when I asked her, she said I was trying to get him cooled down before he goes into the ring. He didn't need to be cooled down. It wasn't that cold. It wasn't that hot. It was actually cold outside. So, and Bean is probably one of my only dogs who could sit 90, 95-degree heat outside all day long in the sun. No water, no nothing. Just will lay there, will not come in. He could do it in the snow too. Kaza cannot. Kaza cannot handle the heat that long. So neither could Mugu. But Bean is definitely not a dog who needs an ice pack. But whatever, it's fine. I mean, they can use the picture to whatever they want to do. That picture actually made me a lot of money. You can see how massive he is in the picture. It's actually a very good picture. This happens to have an ice pack on his butt. So I don't mind them sharing it. I love it when they share it. I mean, every time they hate, they promote me, So I'm okay. I need them. They need to keep hating. I need to always constantly give them something to hate on.
Would you say Mr. Bean is the face of Muscletone as far as studs right now?
Right now, yes. Mr. Bean is definitely the face of Muscletone.
Do you have up-and-comer that you got in the cut?
I do. I regret selling Mr. Clean, Mr. Bean's son. He sold for quite a bit of money. I couldn't refuse it. It was a really large amount, so it was only 12 weeks. It could have went either way. It could have turned out. It could have not. Couldn't refuse the amount they gave me. I sold them. Turned out better than Bean. He's in China right now, and kind of regret it a little bit, but I'm glad that he's in Mr. Zhao's hands. He's a phenomenal guy, good breeder, good friend of mine now too. So I'm glad he's in his hands. So in a way, I'm fine with it. But I do have some other dogs coming up off of Bean, off of Kaza as well, that I think are going to be surpassing them. Apollo, I think, is definitely surpassing Kaza right now. He may not be as big as him just yet, but he's still a baby. But he's definitely a better put-together dog than Kaza. He has better fronts, better top line. So he's just a better overall dog. But yeah, we always have upcomers. Every year we come out with something new, something new, So.
Just speaking on Muscletone as a corporation,
Sure.
Here in the States and worldwide, what would you say the net worth of Muscletone Bullies is?
I never really took the time to put a number on it. But someone asked me one time, what would it take for you to sell Muscletone? And I was like, enough for me to retire. Now, technically speaking, I could probably retire tomorrow, but not the way I want to retire, let me say, put it that way. So I would say $20 million I'd let Muscletone go as an entire company, franchise and all, Under that, it would be a really tough decision for me to make. So.
Another one of the big topics in the bully world, you and Dave are partners. How true is that?
That is so untrue. Me and Dave, only business transactions we've ever had is him purchasing a dog from me or me purchasing a dog from him in the past, using my stud. He's paid me for every dog, he's paid me for every stud. He signed my contracts like everybody else does. He gets treated the same way I treat all my customers. I would treat a family member the same way as I treat everyone else when it comes to business. Business is business. I don't mess around when it comes to that. Dave and me are not partners by any means. Never were, never have. We're friends, in the bully world. We're not really friends outside of the bully world, so I don't know how you'd call that a relationship, but, he'll call me for advice, I'll call him for advice. Just like I would call some other bully breeders for some things that, sometimes as much as I know, I still sometimes learn things, certain things I don't know. I might ask someone I think that been through it. So this is how you grow, you know what I mean? So, and Dave is a very knowledgeable person, so I like to go to him sometimes. Vice versa, is when it comes to my blood, he comes to me because I know my blood best. So it's just a relationship
now,
like I have with any other breeder.
I think I'm correct on this. You're solely supportive of the ABKC registry for the American Bully, is that correct?
I only go to ABKC shows. I support the ABKC 100%. I have nothing against any other registry. A lot of them are my friends. I talk to them. Some of them have my dogs. I have nothing against them. First of all, just let me clear this out. I don't like to go to dog shows. It's a lot of work. Dragging the dogs, it's stressful on the dogs. It's a lot that goes hand in hand, but it's part of the business. It's part of work. Gotta get my dogs out there. Gotta champion them out. I gotta show them off. People gotta see them so people can use them. Personally, I think it's stressful on the dog a little bit, and I find that it's a lot of work. It takes away from other things that I could be doing that's actually much more profitable for me, or maybe more enjoyable as well. But I have to do it. It's my business, it's my job, so I do it. So when I go to an ABKC event, it's for two reasons. Reason number one, I need to title my dog. Reason number two, I'm supporting someone who asked me to support them. So show host called me to say, hey, can we get you out there? They want to pay my way. They want to pay for my time. I will go out. I'll support them. It's not the money they're giving me because it's really nothing. it's really just to support. Then I won't show that day. Usually that's overseas. When in the United States, when I go to a show, it's usually because I have a dog that needs to get a title, and I go to whatever competition I can go to that, will have. I don't like to compete in small shows. You have not seen my dogs in a small show. That's happened maybe once or twice, and it's out of fluke because I expected the show to be bigger. Most of my dogs end up in a show, and you will watch the lineup. They've been 30, 40 dogs every time. I don't want my dogs to win against one or two dogs. It's happened a couple times, but not by choice. So,
speaking on that, how do you feel about the show scene right now?
The show scene today, or in general?
No, in general for the American.
I think it's been improving a lot. I'm seeing a lot of American bullies with bone, substance, and mass. Even though some of the dogs are not my style, they're still American bullies in my opinion. And I don't mind that they're winning because even though they're not my blood, they're not my style. Because they're still in representation of the American bully breed. When before pit bull dogs were winning, dogs that had no bone, no mass, just a clean looking dog, but had nothing, no wow factor. The bully has to have a wow factor. That's what made us leave the UKC. Because we wanted the dog with the biggest head, the biggest mass, the biggest bone. We wanted that wow factor, right? That's how all this came to be, because our dogs are supposed to be overdone. So that's what I want to see winning, because that's what I believe the American bully breed is. I'm not talking a crippled dog. Let's not confuse what I'm saying. I'm not talking a dog that's crippled, no. I'm talking about a dog that's functional, that's healthy, but still carries bone and muscle mass like crazy. Not fat, muscle mass, with a large head and large bone, but still has proper conformation, can still move, can still walk, and is healthy and a good quality dog.
Just from going to the shows, are you satisfied from what you're seeing from the judges as far as their picks?
At the most part, yes. Disappointed a little bit today, and some of the picks were made, but I expected the show today to go exactly as it did. I already predicted it, and I already knew what was going to happen. But that's me just knowing particular judges and how they choose and how they pick. But as an overall, the judges have been doing a great job. I think the ABKC did a great job retraining the judges. Some of them I think still need retraining, but that's just my personal opinion. But the ABKC is not my business, so I leave that to them to handle, so I stay out of it, But they're doing a great job in my opinion.
Have you ever had any desire to buy into a registry?
No, I'm not interested in a registry. There's not enough money for me to be interested in a registry. Plus, there's not enough drive.
What drives you?
My success is based on my drive. Everything I've ever done in life, that it was my judo career when I was younger, or it was my car career that I had before the dogs. Anything that I ever done was a drive and competition drive, that I could be the best at something. And whenever I put my mind in something, I keep at it until I become the best, until I get bored and I can't find anyone better than me, then I move on to the next thing. In the American bully breed, I don't think I'm at the top where I want to be just yet. You might be the biggest breeder, might be the most profitable breeder, might have some of the best dogs in the world, but I think I can improve a little more than that. So I want to get there. Once I get there, I might get bored and move on. But
wow, speaking on that, striving to be the best breeder, being your drive. Who would you say is the best breeder right now of the American bully breed?
I don't know if anyone would be the best breeder as an overall, because I think as a breeder, I don't consider breeders what other people do. A lot of people say, oh, a breeder is someone who produced a nice dog or a few nice dogs. To me, a breeder is a business. So you have to produce nice dogs. You have to have dogs that represent the breed as well in the ring and champ out. You also have to have quality customer service and also be able to be profitable. So you have to be able to run your business and operation professionally. And I think that is the biggest lack of all breeders, is the professionalism. They screw people over, they take deposits, they don't refund them when they don't have the dog to deliver, they don't back up their product. Everyone gets dogs that don't turn out the way they expect. I've seen dogs that were amazing as pups, sold them for $10,000. A few months later, the guy's happy with his pup, shows me the pup. Look, oh, dude, I'm so happy. And look at the pup, I'm like, dude, that's my pup. Bro, do me a favor, I'll keep it. I'll send you another one.
Really?
So, and I send them another one, and they're like, they don't understand. But when the dog gets older, then they call me like, oh, I see what you were saying. Because, sometimes you're blinded by your own dog. But I can't let that person go around and say, Bashar sold me this dog for 10 grand.
Because it's a representation of the Muscletone brand.
Exactly. That's more important to me than anything else. And that's why my customers come back to me. That's why people overseas come to me. They're not scared to buy from me. They're not scared to send me 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. Because they know if it doesn't turn out what they paid for, they're gonna get another one, So, and it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, So if you could back that up, then I would say you're a good breeder, But a lot of breeders don't do that, unfortunately. Some do. I'm not saying they don't. Some do, but not all. Now you got your breeders like that have the most phenomenal show dogs. They walk in that ring, they're great dog trainers and everything else, but they have no consistency in their program. They just have winning dogs because they're a good handler and they show good dogs. And they produce every now and then a quality dog, but lacks substance, bone, mass, and a representation of the breed. Then you got your other people who produces these monsters, massive, great, phenomenal dogs. They can't get them to win in the ring. You know, it's you got to have a balance. I don't think anyone out there has it all, to be honest. I'm not really concerned with other breeders anyways. My concern is my own program. This is the thing I always tell everyone is, I don't have to like you to like your dog. There's some people I don't like, but I like their dogs. And there's some people I love, but I don't like their dogs, okay? You would know. And it could be one of my own dogs. It could be off of one of my own dogs. It could be my own production. You might have it. I'll tell you, if I don't like it, I don't like it. You know, it is what it is. I'm upfront with that. You have to be. You have to be realistic with what you have. I know my dog's faults. I know where I can improve from, okay? People will break them down, talk, and run their mouth, and blah, blah, blah. There's no perfect dog. It doesn't exist. God never created anything perfect. How can I? You know what I mean? I'm just a man. So I do my best, and I strive for it, but I know it's impossible. But I'm gonna keep striving to get as close as I can so that I can be satisfied with my work. So I'm not worried about any other breeders and what they do. I'm only concerned with myself personally. But to say some of the good breeders, I think Khan's doing a great job. His dogs are not my style. But for what he breeds, he has consistency going on, and he's doing good with that. I believe Big Kev has always been someone I always looked up to. I haven't seen him do anything in a while, but I just talked to him today, and I see some of the stuff, he showed me some of the stuff he's got coming up, and I think it's going to be pretty impressive. He's a very knowledgeable breeder. He's very good. I think Dave is a great breeder. I think William in the UK is doing a great job. I think Alex Rado in Belgium is doing a great job. So there's a few, you know what I mean?
Outside
and
of
I'm
your
talking as an overall breeder, you know, not just the productions.
Outside of your yard, who would you like to do a collaboration with? Because I talked to Khan in Virginia today. He was saying that you two might be in the works of trying to do something, trying to work it out.
I like Khan, and everybody has this misconception of me and Khan like that. That's just media, noise, you know. It's like a boxing match, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have a problem. We don't have beef, you know. We're cool. You know, I have no problem with Khan. I'll tell you what I think, just like I tell Khan what I think. I love Khan's substance on his dogs and consistency. I find that he lacks muscle mass. I find that the dogs are thick with bone, but no muscular structure. They don't have the round shoulders that I want. They don't have the ripples in their back going down their line. Their ass don't come out with a bunch of rips in them the way you see Kaza or Magoo or Bean. I need that, a Muscletone. I can't sacrifice that just to bring another bloodline in. But I do need another bloodline in, or I'm gonna run into a dead end sooner or later. But I need to find one that doesn't have Dax in it, and as well, still has what I need from it. I've tried Bling, because I like to bring that Crunk Juice blood in from George. I'm gonna use Bling again. I bring dogs that I know the back of their pedigree has the muscle mass I need, even though me might not have it now. But I know what I can bring. Khan's dog have it as well, but I'm watching the productions he's doing with them, and I'm seeing the consistency of not producing it. But I am seeing the consistency of bone and mass. And that's how I usually pick my studs. I don't pick them based on just what they are, but I want to see what they have that they pass on, and what they don't have that they don't pass on. So for example, a dog with a solid rear breeds to a bitch that has a weak rear. None of the pups have a good rear. Obviously his solid rear is not a strong suit of him. I mean, it keeps happening over and over again. We have a problem. Obviously he cannot pass on that rear. Then you have a dog who has a phenomenal rear. He breeds to a bunch of females with bad rears, and he has several of the pups got good rears. So obviously, that gene, he passes on. That particular specific area of the way he looks, goes through his pups, even though to a female that doesn't complement him properly. That's how I pick my studs. So I watch what they do. I don't watch them just as a whole, but as a whole and as well as what they do. As well as I watch the marketing behind them. I've seen some really, really good dogs I want to use. The marketing is so bad behind it, I can't risk bringing it to my line because that will devalue my line. It devalues my line, it devalues all my partners' line, and everyone else was invested in me. So I gotta think of everyone, I can't think just of me. So that's the situation. So right now, I'm dying to find someone who has something else. I went around today talking to some of the breeders that I have known for a long time, respect, hoping they had something. I didn't see anything, but they all have something coming up, so hopefully by next year they have something, you know.
How do you pick your partners for Muscletone?
My partners come to me first of all, above all, and then I make my selections on which one I want to choose based on, let's say I got 2 or 3 people from Brazil come to me and say, hey, we want to be partners. They all have the money. Obviously, there's a fee to come part of Muscletone, so it's not a small fee. They need to have a facility, they need to have a right location. I need to get to feel them a little bit, and I give them a little period of time where I get to know them and work with them slowly. So I let them get the first couple dogs, see how they're doing, how they're acting, how they're treating people, how customers are treating them, back and forth. And I pay attention to it very carefully. And sometimes I make mistakes. I've had partners that after 2-3 years of business and thought they were my brothers and realized that they were not doing work the way they were supposed to be doing work. They weren't going straight. And I had to let them go. I had to go collect my stuff and say, hey, gotta go, So, and some that I parted way and let them keep their dogs because, it was just maybe an understanding. But as overall, my partners are really, really good people. I mean, honest, lovable, just really good people. And they're very proud to be Muscletone members. And I love them for that. They're family to me.
Because currently right now, you're in a position where you've done so many breedings and been all around the world and had a chance to see the good and the bad and the mistakes that you made along the way. Now you're in that position to be a mentor to others. Have anybody ever reached out to you to be a mentor? Not to be a part of Muscletone, but just ask about the bully.
A lot of people come to me, ask me to be their mentor. I don't know if I'm mentor material, let's just per se. I'm not sure what I could teach. I'm a high believer of that what I have accomplished is based on my character. And if you lack that character, I could talk to you all day. You're not going to be able to do it. And that's the thing that people. When I used to teach children judo, I used to teach the Junior Olympics. So when I used to teach the kids from Junior Olympics judo, even these kids were all national fighters and they were phenomenal players. I knew which 1 or 2 or 3 maybe at the most had a chance. The rest were wasting my time. But I trained them, and their parents were like, why aren't you pushing him? Why aren't you pushing him? And the person I'm up front. Your kid's not going to make it. I could push him all day. He doesn't have what it takes. He doesn't have what it takes up here. And if he doesn't have what it takes up here, I don't care what I teach him. He's not going to make it. He's lost every time he bowed into that mat. So, and they don't understand that because their kid is a national player. He's been winning, but he's not Olympic level. That's another level, So it's the same with the dogs. You have your breeder and saying, hey, can you mentor me? Can you this, that? Okay, well, this is what I do, this is how I do it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, all right. Then I watched them. Everything I said went from here, came out of there. They're not capable of it, okay? One thing I've told someone, I'm not gonna mention his name, a few years ago, I said, I saw him talking, he was doing business with me, and I was trying to help him grow, he seemed like a nice kid, and noticed he would start, bashing other dogs on Facebook. And I called him up, I said, dude, take that post down. He goes, that dog is fucked up. I'm like, I agree, the dog is fucked up. Take the post down, that's not what we do. And he's like, well, why not? And I'm like, that's not a successful mentality. We don't worry about the dogs that are no good. We look past them. We don't have time to worry about them. We need to worry about the ones that are good. That's where our concentration is. We need to go forward, not backwards. That's a waste of your time. If you have time to do that, you should be doing something else right now. Okay, you should be marketing your company. You should be marketing your dog. You should be taking pictures of your dog. You should be doing something else that's more valuable to your time than what you're doing right now. He didn't understand that. And then he called me next time and said, don't call me, bro. And he's like, wow, over that post? I'm like, it's not over the post. It's your way of thinking. You're not capable of becoming anything. And guess what? He's nothing. Till today. See him on Facebook hating on people. So, and there's a lot of that.
Just thinking of your legacy years from now.
Sure.
With the American Bully, you hear about the Razor's Edge, the Gotti line, the Michelin blood. What would you like for people to say about Muscletone years from now? What would you like for your legacy to be?
I feel like what they're saying now is good enough for me. Good or bad, they're talking about me. Must be doing something right. So it really doesn't matter. I'm not someone who needs validation. So I never needed it. That's why I say what I think, because I don't care what people feel after I'm done talking. It's a good trade and a bad trade. It's a bad trade because you hurt people's feelings, but it's a good trade because no one can ever accuse me of lying. Okay. So earlier someone came up to me with a Kaza son. They said, what do you think of him? And honestly, you really want to know? He's like, yeah. I said, I don't like him. I get rid of him.
Did he get upset?
Yeah, he got upset. It was a Kaza son. I didn't like him. I just did not like the dog. I don't think it represents what Muscletone should be. That was my opinion. I gave it to him. Now, he produced that dog himself, and I understand it. And I told him, I said, me personally, I think you picked the wrong dog. It is what it is. So that's my opinion on the dog, even though it was my own. But I'll tell that to anyone, no matter what it is. So people hate me for that reason. So people like to say, hey, Bashar.
But they gotta really respect that, because you're not sugarcoating anything and lying to people.
You would think people would respect honesty. But we're not in a world where people respect honesty anymore. That was back in the day, maybe.
Do you think, though...
We're not in that world anymore.
Do you think down the line they'll look back and be like,
yeah,
he was right?
Back in the line, they will look back, he said it how it was, and blah, 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 blah.
Just speaking on Magoo, who went to non-bi, do you all have a personal relationship?
Not as a customer. He purchased the dog. He's doing a great job. You know, he's doing his thing out there. He put Magoo up on the map even higher than he already was, so I'm grateful for that. He does his own thing. He likes to bring phenom females to Magoo. That's his vision. And some of the dogs look pretty nice in pictures that I've seen, so he's doing a good job. I have no problem with what he's doing. I think he's doing a great job, but we don't really have a relationship. You know, I might message him, ask him about Magoo every now and then, and he might message me, ask me a question about something. But very rarely. I don't think I've heard from him in a few months. So
the reason I asked that question, man, because like you said, it's hard to have personal relationships outside of the bully world with people that you're involved with in the bully world. That your relationship extends outside of that.
Correct.
Is that a trust factor, because you've built such a enormous brand worldwide that sometimes in the back of your mind, like, are they just talking to me to be a user, or are they genuinely my friend?
Right.
Do you find that?
No, I don't have that issue. That would be more of an insecurity problem. I don't have that. I'm not insecure. I will tell you what I think no matter who you are, if you ask me. And if I don't want to tell you for whatever particular reason, because I feel it's improper to tell you, I'll say I don't want to talk about it. So I don't have that problem. And if I tell you something and you go repeat it, there's nothing I told you that I didn't say to anyone else, you know. So I don't have that problem. I'm an open book. Everyone knows everything that comes out of my mouth has been consistent from day one. Okay, I've never lied. I've never, you know. A lot of people, they like to play. Oh, you know, I do this for the breed. We know why you do it. You do it for two reasons: either for profit, and if it's not for a profit, you're doing it to boost your own ego. Okay, because you need validation. That it's on Facebook so you can get likes, so people can say, oh my God, look at your dog, or so that you can win and say, check out what I did, or, you know, you're playing, you're doing it just no different than girls posting half-naked pictures on Facebook. That's what you're doing, breeding. And to me, I think that's an insecurity issue. And I don't have that. I don't post my dogs for that reason. I post my dogs so I can make a profit. It's a business. I've been upfront with it from day one. People talk shit about me for it. So what? I don't care what they think. I'm still doing what I do, and I'm still making my money. It doesn't make a difference to me. So your opinion is your opinion, and you're entitled to it.
Could you see yourself not dealing with the American bully?
Right now, no, because I really love the breed, you know, and I really love doing I love what I do. You know what I mean? I like being around them. I like watching my dogs run across the house, seeing their muscle movement. You know, I like that. You know, and I like seeing what's next coming up. You know, I would say I'm not as involved as I used to be. I do my breedings. I don't see my pups till they're 8 weeks. Female goes to the vet a few days for whelp watch, gets picked up by my worker when the puppies are born. She whelps the litter till they're 8 weeks. I don't see them. It's very rare that I see them before 4 weeks. She might send me a picture or two. I don't even bother, just a full picture so I can send to the customers or post it up on my website. When they're 8 weeks, I finally take a look at them. When back in the day, I would look at them from the beginning, watching them grow. But then I learned that I was just wasting time. The time I'm watching and thinking of these dogs, that one day it's this one day it's that one day it's this one, I realized I could be doing something else that's more important. So I stopped looking at them. 8 weeks, bring them to me, I gotta make my pick so everyone can get their pick, you know? And we go from there. So as though I'm not as involved, it doesn't mean I like them less. I just set my time to work better for me, you know? When I started with the breed, when I started with the dog in general, when I noticed there was money in it, because I had one dog and I was content that one dog. I didn't want anything else. I was content with it. The dog I went to training for school. I went to dog school, trained the dog. He did agility, protection, obviously obedience. Couldn't do any of those without obedience. Tracking, all kinds of stuff. There's nothing that dog I didn't go to classes for. You know, I was just obsessed with the dog, you know? And I was content with the one dog. It was just my one house dog, and I was happy with that. When I started seeing there was money into it, at the beginning it was just for the pleasure, you know? As a male, I wanted to get off a little bit. Hey, can I breed to your dog? Yeah, let him get off, you know? It's a boy, you know, I was happy for my dog. I didn't even ask for any money. When I found out I could get paid for it, things changed. I was like, oh, wait a minute. You mean you're gonna pay me for my dog to sleep with your female? Isn't that the other way around usually? I'm like, well, wait a minute, okay, hold on. So there's money in there. So when that clicked, I started looking into it. When I started looking into it, automatically I saw what I have now in my brain. It's okay, I need to get there. And I gave myself 5 years. I got there in 2. So, it's good.
Okay, before we wrap things up here with Bashar, I just want to get your thoughts on your feelings on the bully world today.
And like I said earlier, I think success is a character, you know. No one who's successful, no one, and I guarantee you no one, has set out there wasting their time, breaking someone else down so they can feel better about themselves. They didn't have that time. It's impossible. You don't have that time. What they did is watch someone who was better than them and learned from them so that they can go forward, okay? So they took all the knowledge that they could take from that person so that they could one day surpass them. A student that cannot surpass his teacher has a bad teacher, right? So you know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, if you're not a student of that teacher and he's better than you, how could you surpass him? You can't. You need someone to teach you. You're not where you want to be, you're doing something wrong. Breaking someone who's above you to bring him down to your level some way within your own fantasy brain does not change reality that you're still where you're at. That's character. If you have that in you, that insecurity, that character of wanting to break people down, feeling envy for people, I don't have that. If you have that, I'm sorry, you can't be successful. You can't. I don't care how many dogs you buy, how many things I can teach you. You will never be successful at anything you do. At anything, in general. You have to have the mentality of becoming the best, learning from the best, and respecting the best to get where you are. That's the only way up. There is no other way up in anything.
Hey man, I really appreciate your time as always, man. Like I said, that first interview, 250,000 views, a lot of love and a lot of hate, like you said, with envy and jealousy, man. But what you said with the final words, that really sums up everything, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time as always.
You're welcome. Anytime. It's a nice being here again, talking with you. It's always a good time. Thank you very much for your time too.
Bully Talk with Zed Pitts, and we're out.
Awesome.